We're starting to do some research right now with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, traumatic brain injury, looking at not only a ketogenic diet, but a ketogenic diet plus supplementation with like exogenous ketones.
So let's talk about ketogenic. I know that you guys are launching a few things and the website's really growing. The Instagram is growing tremendously. You're growing as one of the faces of it. What are your plans with ketogenic? Where do you see keto going? And as far as like a lifestyle, how do you see keto working with, you know, nowadays we have something different, which is we have influencers talking about keto and growing, and like the whole influencer space is really taking a huge kind of like chunk of it is becoming keto and stuff like that. Where do you see the whole thing moving?
You know what, honestly, I see this conversation as something that's not going to stop anytime soon.
It's not a fad.
It's not a fad at all. And one of the things that I look at is like what's happened in the past. I think it's good to learn from like history, but you look at what happens with Atkins. And the reason Atkins blew up because people were seeing a tremendous amount of success, but the reason it fell off was because there were products that were introduced and they weren't done well. There wasn't a lot of education like this being put out about it. Like people were just like, cool, I'm gonna trust this process, I'm gonna eat it, and the fat will melt off my body. They didn't really understand what they were doing. Whereas now you have all these influencers who are putting out books, they're talking about it, they're putting out programs, and they're allowing people to live the lifestyle, which is what we were talking about. And so ultimately with Ketogenic.com, we want to bring together all of those influencers and allow people a space to really protect the conversation, because the only thing that will drag down the ketogenic lifestyle is the people internally. Like externally, no one, I think it's built strong enough now that it won't be defeated, but like internally, internal conflict will destroy it. When we have people that are like hardcore, like you only need to eat meat, or you have people that are like you only need to eat plants, it's like, well, can we coexist? Like I think there's benefits, there's pros and cons to potentially each. Like, can we coexist? So how do we bring people together and foster that conversation, but ultimately realize there's millions and millions of people out there who effectively can be helped by this lifestyle? How do we educate them? And that's what we're doing.
That's amazing. I love ketogenic. I love what you guys are doing. This facility is probably the biggest thing I love. Before we go, what are some new things that you've started to see just with so much research that you guys have and so many new things that you guys are testing? What are some of the new things that you might be able to talk about that are coming up or that you've seen have success by doing keto right now?
You know, one of the things that we're looking into is we're starting to explore a little bit more in the supplementation route is what kind of benefits, especially from a cognitive aspect. I think we're starting to do some research right now with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, traumatic brain injury, looking at not only a ketogenic diet, but a ketogenic diet plus supplementation with like exogenous ketones. A lot of what we think happens cognitively in all of those situations is the brain starving for a fuel source. And it's basically, people are referring to Alzheimer's right now as type 3 diabetes. Their brain can't take up and effectively utilize glucose. What happens when you provide it with an alternative source of fuel? So that's really what our lab's studying right now. Some of the results we're seeing are absolutely profound, and I'm like, we're onto something here. And that excites me because there's so many, it's such a terrible disease and such terrible conditions that you don't want anyone that you know, love, or care about have to go through that. And you're like, yeah. What if it was scary. As simple as having an alternative fuel source? That's not going to cure it or do anything, but at least what if it provides them with a whole nother sense, a whole nother 2, 3, 4 years of quality time with someone? Like, what's that worth?
Yeah.
And so that's really, really exciting.
So you believe in exogenous ketones, obviously. There's a lot of mixed reviews right now coming out with exogenous ketones and things like that. Have you ever tested them on yourself for, like, let's just say fasting, just ketones for like extra performance and work? Yeah,
so I supplement with exogenous ketones every day prior to my workouts. Like that's my pre-workout.
That's your pre-workout.
Is I'll use exogenous ketones as a pre-workout. But one of the other benefits, kind of like what you were pointing to, that I think exogenous ketones has a real play, not only in some of those neurological condition space, but when you're talking about cognitive performance in general, like our lives depend on that, of being at maximal peak cognitive performance every day. And so one of the things is we know there's benefits to fasting, but some people have trouble fasting. Like just drinking water all day can be challenging. Well, I think ketones can help extend that period. You're providing something that's not negating the benefits of fasting, but providing a fuel source that may now, instead of you being like, I gotta eat at 11:30, now that pushes that to 1:30 or 2. That's hours of productivity that you may not have otherwise have gotten.
Yeah. Would you say that breaks your fast? Or would you say that that does not break your fast? Because I know I'm going to get this.
Yeah, so people ask this all the time. I think there's water fasting and I think there's fat fasting. There's benefits, and there's studies that have shown when you're talking about insulin, glucose, all these hormones, it's driven by the carbohydrates, not just the lack of food or fuel. So if that's the goal, like if you're trying to extend that time period of fasting, having like straight fats, nothing that's like a mixed meal or anything, having straight fats or ketones themselves technically would allow that. Are there different benefits to water only fasting? Certainly, there's some benefits, but the way I look at it is sustainability. If I'm allowing someone and they're going, hey, I'm gonna fast till noon, and then they have, say, coffee with MCTs or coconut oil, or they have ketones, and then that allows them to not eat until dinner time, I'd much rather that than them go, all right, well, I'm gonna have a meal, and then I'm gonna have another meal and a snack, and then dinner.
Right.
That prolongs that fasting period.
Would fasting, water fasting, more so would assist on like autophagy, cellular reparation, things like that. Right. The other one, let's just say, would be fat fasting, is more to extend your fast, to help cognitively, to help, I would say, on performance if you're at work or something like that.
Certainly. It's more sustainable.
Right.
And one of the things that people always talk about autophagy, and so like autophagy is like the cleaning of your cells. Like it's kind of like they're going in, they're cleaning up all the dead ones and repairing them. Like that's in essence what autophagy is. One of the best ways to do that is some sort of intermittent fasting, but also just exercise. Exercise is the #1 way you can increase autophagy. So like high intensity interval training, doing sprints, working out. Like you want to increase autophagy, work out and get good sleep. That'll do it as well.
All right, so with fasting, are you more of a 1 day for autophagy kind of guy, or are you 16, 18 hours consistent with fasting?
I like to do like 5 days a week. I like to incorporate in some intermittent fasting, but at least twice a year, I'll do like an extended fast where I might go like 48 hours, and that's kind of like to reset things and go by that way. One of the things I'm more interested in putting on lean mass. That's ultimately my goal. Is like right now I'm actually at like more of a maintenance phase of like, cool, I don't want to like put on so much more. I'm not so much worried about losing fat. Like I'm good where I'm at. Just health, longevity. So that's why I like the intermittent fasting. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to your goals.
Right.
Ultimately, where are you at in your life cycle? What's your goal? But for autophagy in general, intermittent fasting is going to be great. Exercise is going to be great. Low carbohydrate diets or lifestyles are going to be great. Like those are in essence probably the best things you can ever do. And getting good sleep. Getting good sleep, which is probably the one area I would say if I need to focus on something much better. It's so easy to put off, but I know you're probably the same way. It's like,
I try. I think I do a decent job, and I do feel my body different. I'm a 6 to 7 hour guy.
That's good.
8 hours, like I actually feel more tired, if that even makes sense. Like I get like, if I get extra sleep, I'm just like, I don't want to. I go to the gym at 5.
Okay.
Right, so like I wake up super early, so I go to bed pretty early, right?
Yeah.
Like I try to go to bed at 10, wake up at 5.
Strong.
We're at the gym at 5:30. And if I sleep in a little extra, I'm more tired than if I actually don't get enough sleep. I don't know.
Have you tracked your sleep, like the quality?
With like an Oura ring or something like that? No.
Yeah, so I've recently started tracking it, and it's made like it's really interesting to look at some of the data, like if I have a glass of wine or if I eat something super late, or depending upon like if I wear blue light blocking glasses or how my room's set up, if I'm in a hotel room versus at home. Like it's really interesting to track the patterns. I'm like, dang, all right, I gotta be better tonight. And I can tell my body feels it, especially I just got back from a trip and like sleeping on planes, it's brutal. I was looking at it, I'm like, 2 hours. I'm like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
It's brutal, but it's interesting to
I've noticed that when I travel, if I go to specifically a hotel, because I can black it all out, I'm out. best sleep I can get.
You know what? I'm the same exact way. And I looked at that and I was like my deep sleep, my like REM, it's on point when I'm in hotel rooms. Also, I think a lot of it is because like I keep my hotel room like ice cold. Whereas like at home, I don't like keep it at like 60 at a hotel room.
Yeah,
like,
oh yeah.
I'm like as low as possible. So
yeah.
I'm like, that's in part too. Like you're cold, it's blacked out, it's comfortable. I'm like, dang, hotel.
Yeah, it's because like with my wife likes to watch TV, and like I know, I'm like, no, this is all dark. I'm gonna go to sleep faster. It's gonna be better for me. And I try to explain it to her, and she's like, no, that's not.
I want to watch TV.
When I was young, I used to sleep with the TV on, so it's the same thing. We just put a sleeper, and I'm like, so I gotta sleep with like a mask on, and gotta do this whole thing. And so I know that when I go to a hotel, I'm almost excited because I'm like, oh, dude, I'm going to bed at like 9:30. Yeah. I'm blacking this thing out, and it's gonna be like 60 degrees.
It's the best.
And you pass like right out. So what else have you noticed in tracking your sleep that like kind of helps you?
Yeah, if I eat super late, I notice that it takes me a longer time to fall asleep. Like even though I'm in bed, the latency to fall asleep is a lot longer. That's one of the challenges. The other thing I notice is that if I don't block out blue light, like I have these weird glasses that block out blue light. Yeah, the glasses that block out blue light, or like my curtains, I have blackout curtains. Like I notice that if I don't do that, like some nights I'll forget, the quality of my sleep's impaired. Like I don't get as much deep sleep. When I'm like, dang, like they make that much of a difference, but it's because I'm exposed. I have my phone out, I'm working late, I'm on my computer watching TV with my dog or whatever. It's like that stuff adds up over time, and you don't realize that it's impacting you at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when you're like, that should be your best time to sleep.
Yeah, I used to wear the blue blockers at the office, and now I have a pair at home because I'm always on my phone. Like my phone is my computer to a degree,
yep.
Right? And so I'm always working on it. And now that I have the blue lights, again, my wife makes fun of me, but I know that it actually works for me. You know? Yep. So before we go, just a few rapid fire questions on keto. What is your go-to keto meal?
Cobb salad for sure.
Cobb salad?
Yeah.
What is your go-to keto drink?
Ooh, this one's tough. Either Vitamin Water Zero or the Zevia is what I'll have a lot.
Oh, favorite Zevia flavor?
Oh, it's like the lemon. It's the
lemon sparkling one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's light. It's light.
I like to go cherry cola.
I haven't had that in a long time.
It's really good. I got my daughters on Zevia, which was an exciting moment for me because they never drink. I don't let them drink soda, but now they're all into Zevia, and they tried soda one day. I wasn't there. They went with their grandma, and they had it, and I was like, oh, it's gross. It's like super sweet. And I was like, oh.
How amazing is that though? That like, but that it's actually an interesting point to bring up. Is like we were like growing up, I was in this culture where like having a Coke or soda was just like a norm. It was at picnics and events, and then like, but you see like your kids growing up, and it's like, that's amazing where that they try it and they're like, oh, this is too much. And like, that's the point that we need to get into. It's crazy how ingrained like sweetness and tons of sugar are in our society, but it's great that
it's hard too, because like they go to school and they see all these other things, right, and you try to be a certain way, right? Like they just got cereal, and I'm not against it. I'm not like crazy about it, but I don't like it for sure, right? And I'm like, I don't want you to do this, whatever. But they themselves are starting to be like, oh, I'm good with this. Can I just have blueberries or whatever? You know, like the only thing that they do eat that I can't do too much about is like chicken nuggets. But you know, you gotta go. You gotta take your wins so you can take your wins.
It's better. It's better than what I used to do.
We make a ton of different little things at home that are healthy and good, and you know, that's the biggest thing. It's just little steps, you know, like if you can take an extra step and an extra step at the end of the day, you know, like they're pretty solid, and they know now, like I have convinced them or trained them to a degree, like that when they have a treat, it's a treat. It's not an everyday thing. It's not all the time. You know, you're supposed to have something and you can indulge. We can do it together. Sometimes, like, you know, I wrote a program that was kind of a variation of that, because on the weekends, I wanted to have pancakes with them, you know. So the majority of the program is basically overall for normal people to do fasting, whole foods, very specific, kind of like an elimination thing at the beginning, and then start introducing like a cheat meal a weekend, or maybe 2, but like that's your max and stuff like that. So it's an easy way for people to kind of get started and stuff. So Ryan, if people want to get in touch with you, holler, check out any of the content, what are the best places to take them?
If you look on Facebook, there's Dr. Ryan Lowery on Facebook. I'm active on Instagram. It's at Ryan P. Lowery on Instagram. And then some of the content we have is at Ketogenic.com on Instagram, the Ketogenic.com website. And then we do a little bit on Facebook as well with Ketogenic.com as well.
Awesome, man. Well, it was amazing. I really appreciate you having us here, and I hope to talk about it a lot more now consistently because we're so close.
Right here, man.
Yeah,
you got to come down. I appreciate you guys coming down.
That is it for us, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like, leave a message, leave a review. Let people know in the community what questions you have, what you're thinking about, what you want us to see in the future from us and with Dr. Ryan. And we will see you guys on the next episode.